Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon. Wow, it's another Monday. You know that song where Mamas Mondays. Lomax always used to play sometimes back when I was younger, going to school in the morning if I ever heard it. And that would just set the week right. Well, as you get older, maybe some things change, or maybe some things stay the same. Well, I trust and pray today is even better, and each one gets better than the one before. So, looking forward to a great week, and invite you to be a part of today's production on Talk Today, some open line. I'm looking forward to the excellent company again of Miss Katina Anglin to sort of sit in with me and share the banter as we invite calls on any and every topic, engage, and some not just wonderful banter and discourse, but for some meaningful dialogue, and hopefully to evoke in you some sentiments. So please give us a shout on our toll free line at 1 800 534 8255 or 949 8037. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today. Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. What's on your mind? I must share. Honestly, it's, on one hand, it just shows the incredible work ethic that exists in this society among our people in particular, but also, and I say this very respectfully, but with a degree of concern, the amount of us who are seemingly working constantly, not only because it's of concern that we're probably not getting sufficient rest, exercise. We're probably not spending the appropriate amount of time with our families, but we're probably getting to a point where it seems that the expectation is that we're working constantly. So whether we are, at our desk, which is just down from our beds, whether we're still finding ourselves, come 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we haven't really changed, our sleeping clothes. We haven't probably even taken time to eat. Not only, we've attended to all of the duties of the office or the house. Now, shows a strong commitment to getting the job done, but is it healthy? Is it sustainable? Are we overlooking the potential impact on our overall well-being? Something to consider. And it isn't just because we're in a new time that we're doing this. I think it's just because now that we see it more and more, that it's become so evident that we are, in fact, doing it this way. Well, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Let me know what you want to talk about or what I must share, though. And I say that because from very, very early today, a number of you and, have from early in the day continued some of your discussions. Some of you have broached new subjects with me, and a few of the topics. One is the whole issue of what some of our, you know, as an example, our competing tourist and financial services destinations in the Caribbean in particular had faced following this whole thing that we all seem to be in some facet. And now that they're welcoming back their tourists and visitors alike, there are potential questions as to how those tourists and visitors, and even others when they return, are sort of feeling what they are facing, potentially, maybe what they are considering. Uh, Now, you invite someone into your home, do you lock them in the closet? Well, as sort of, you know, jamming up that may seem to some of us, well, that's to an extent what some of the tourists probably have sort of expressed that they're feeling. Had to come back again, but wow, is this the reception? Now, likewise, what about our students who may have to, for the first time, venture off to universities, or as they're transferring credits, or as they are potentially going, back to school? Will they have to face, quarantine? Word that in and of itself, I've always, had not the most, positive and receptive of connotations. Now, beyond those issues, there's also the concern as to how one, the pension administrators and the like are paying or are not paying. What values have they placed on the pension accounts? And for the people who are now waiting, some desperately in their minds to receive these funds, others, they see it as, oh, boy, I better get it now because look how bad it is. And if it gets any worse, I'll have anything. Well, the values have come down significantly in their minds. But equally, what about the fees that are being assessed, despite what officials may say or providers may justify as the recipient? You see it as your money. You feel, wow, that's painful. Is it also punitive that it's being taken out of your money? But then allegations that banks, one a fellow shared that you know his co-worker was saying that the banks had taken out a significant amount of money. His account wasn't in order. He understood that. He thought at that time, he would settle up with the bank, but he would have been at least had a chance to chat with the bank first to say, okay, I'm behind $1. I'm getting two. Maybe you can take 50 cents out of it instead of taking, sometimes not just the one, but a couple of dollars extra for future payments without saying, well, how can we refinance? How can we fix this thing so that I can do something to put myself in a better position to be able to pay you going forward? Now, you may have a view on that. Should the banks have the first dibs on the money? After all, it's coming into your account at their bank. Or should you have been sort of apprised of it, given an option, or simply because you were in arrears, you were behind in your payments, you really don't have no say. The bank, you know, has their hands on it, and before you get it, they got it. What do you feel about that? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Another example, I've only seen it in a couple of cases where, a very, very small number, I think three or four, had said that they had inquired if they wanted their pension money, irrespective of how much it was. It's not enough to pay off their mortgage, but if they wanted to get their pension money, all of it, and go ahead and put it straight on their mortgages, could they do that? And apparently, you know, there is no provision to do that. And one lady said, "Well, really, if I have 50,000 in pension money, I have $100,000 mortgage, balance remaining, and I have, $1,000 a month payment. If I could put the 50,000 on it, reduce the payment by, half, It'd probably be easier to find 500 than it is to find 1,000. Now, some of us know if you're a day late and a dollar short, yeah, it may as well be, $1 million in 10,000 years because you're short, you're short. But the point being, if you're going to access the money and there is no really, mean reason at that time, why not? If someone very, very open and says, things are good now, but I wouldn't mind if you would allow me. Yeah, people can take their pension to buy televisions, has been alleged by some, or sent overseas to invest in other things or help other economies, or perhaps even here to spend on their livelihood and upkeep. Well, why can't a person access it, put it on their mortgage, and at the end of the day, pay off the mortgage that much faster, make the monthly payments that much easier? Should you think that that should have been allowed if we were looking at it from that perspective? Well, your view, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. I know a number of individuals when it comes to banking and the like always feel that it is that unnecessary evil for some of us. Or when we speak of banks, we speak from very little uh, sort of information and informed perspective, despite it being supposed this financial center. We've seen many of the educators talk about the need to have increased and adequate training and certification for workers. They graduate school, they go into the financial services sector, but there isn't anything other than what is available from external bodies. Like so much things, we're failing our people in terms of training and certification that not only is useful here, but transferable elsewhere. And then, as some have shared, the banks have you. You can't do very little without financing. Uh, so, if you speak ill of the banks, then you may find yourself challenged to get banking services, to qualify for a mortgage, for any opportunity for negotiation and preferential rate. Well, if you owe the bank and you're in arrears, as in the case of many of us, sadly, for different reasons, and there's funds in your account, well, if you look close to the agreement, the bank has first dibs. The question being, though, should you know automatically that that's what will happen? Should there be an opportunity for you to know, go to the bank beforehand? And one would think that would be prudent and say, hey, with this pension funds that we're getting, for example, we are in arrears X dollars, we're getting Y. Is it possible not to take it all or to take more than that to keep it, so the account up to date for a period of time while we get back on our feet? Or can you say this, and we work with this? Well, again, without fully understanding what's available to you, we may find it increasingly difficult. Now, we want to hear from you. It is open line 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. You can record a voice note. You can type it up and send it through. We'll certainly read it or play it, listen to it as you wish. Uh, as that goes, we'll have it all. So pause, take a very short break. Or when you come back, more talk today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Pure and cleaner.
Puritan Cleaners is pleased to announce the change in its opening and closing hours for all of its locations. Savannah Countryside, 946-1884, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. Arbitorium Plaza, Elgin Avenue, 949-2452, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. Our main store, 337 Eastern Avenue, will be open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays, 949-7104. These hours will remain in place until further notice. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Economics and Statistics Office are currently conducting the annual business surveys. The surveys seek to measure the performance of all local industries. Survey forms for this year are mailed or emailed to all entities operating in the Cayman Islands. The business surveys are confidential under the Statistics Law and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Law. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the Economics and Statistics Office. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 525-8565 or 325-6652.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Open Line. Going to have the excellent company of Ms. Katina Anglin, Wayne, sharing. We had a very wonderful discussion on Friday in relation to civics. Share some of those comments with us in terms of the feedback we received. But we also have a caller joining us. Let's always take the opportunity to engage your listeners and hear what we have to say. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you doing?
Very well. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Listen, I wanted to chime in on some of the topics there that you just mentioned. One of the things that we have in the society is, and I need to be cautious how I say this. A lot of people expect everything to be done for them. And I'll qualify that. If you are, for some reason, in arrears with your bank, and situations happen, I think we've all been in that. One of the things that you must do foremost is have a conversation with your bank. I mean, know your loan officer, because you're assigned one. Have their number. Develop a relationship with them. They're not the enemies, basically. And I don't work for a bank, so let's just make that clear. But
right.
And not to say that I always get along or get my way with a bank, but I know my rights, and I go in there, and it's not that I won't or haven't missed a payment, but they're aware beforehand that I will miss that payment, and I give them notice. So I'm just quantifying that initially. If you, for some reason, are in arrears with your bank and you've claimed your pension, you didn't have to put your bank account on there. You could have put that you needed to be issued in a check. Okay? So if somebody's in arrears and they put their bank there, that's kind of their fault. They should have actually requested it in a check format. If you didn't have an account or you don't put an account, the pension office will issue or would have issued it in a check format. So that's just my 2 cents on that part, right?
Okay, I'll come back to you on that in a second too to see you. But go ahead, yeah, listen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the second thing, getting on the pension with that one particular pension provider that went on media and talked about people are going to spend their money online and stuff like that. You know, I don't like interpretation of people who are not in the same position of people of need. So when, you know, clearly he was talking about he only have 3 employees. Well, get some more employees. The pension provider or the pension payout administration work did not have to be done here. It can be done online from another one of his jurisdiction. But he refused to get more staff to be able to provide the services that the government have all the other pension providers. You know, none of them were saying that they can't make it except this particular pension. Hey, if it costs more, get it done. That's what it takes. So, you know, I don't agree with what he said, and he shouldn't be allowed. He should be providing this service. You know, only 3 employees. I mean, come on. You know what I mean?
But the challenge, though, and I hear what you're saying is that, and I like, respectfully, if you don't mind me saying, I like, or am I repeating? I like what you said. You know, I'll be mindful, be careful how I, couch my language, not just sort of the innate respect that I think you have for everything, but I believe the general fear that so many of us have when we say things, not just because we don't want it to be defamatory or disrespectful, but potentially the repercussions. And I only harp on that for one quick second, and then I wonder to what extent that hinders overall our society's view of whether we should say something, whether we should say no, should we say it about this, and why I share that, as you were talking, right? 4 comments that I'll be able to read immediately sort of agrees with you, but also, don't call my name, but here's my thought. And here are a few of them. It's great, I think, as you shared, to advise, understand what rights you have, but how many of us do? The other person said, in my bank, and they named their bank, they changed staff. Now I don't even know who the staff are, much as who my loans officer is. Now I'm paraphrasing this comment, right? This other person's comment, similar to that one, is that at the bank that they're at, again, names their bank. I go in there and I don't know who to talk to. It's like you're not even a welcome customer. If you got a question, if you go to advise them, of a situation you're having, there isn't, this person writes the word sympathy. Right now, we won't get into the meaning of the words and so on, but I think what they're trying to share is there's no understanding, there is no sense of thing. The person also to say is, the bank's in there to make business. If you don't stay in business, then people are out of work. But that's not the issue. So to your point, then, how much do you think the business world, the world in which we live now, is like what it was way back when, where you knew people, you understood your customer, not just this KYC stuff that we're doing now that seems to be paperwork, but you actually knew your customer. You knew the business, then you knew the relationship, and you felt like you could talk to your bank because, well, you knew who to talk to. You knew where the bank was. You knew, how accessible it was. Is that one of the challenges that we have? And then one more comment on the check system. Somebody mentioned as well. That was a 4th comment. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Dwayne, I cannot disagree, because I think people have this perceived notion of how banking. Let me explain to you what my understanding of banking is. I get good customer service out of banks 2 ways. Either I have a lot of money or I owe a lot of money. Okay? So
I hear you.
And I don't have a lot of money, but at one point I owed a lot of money. And if you owe a lot of money and you pay on time, you get good customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It is your vested interest. If you, right now, a lot of people are going to come out of this, like me, and I needed a haircut. If my barber that I liked for 15 years was not still in business, I will find another barber. And I will get in that chair, and I will have no problem in telling him what I want and how I want my hair done. But yet we have a problem with making a relationship with a new bank loan officer, or I don't buy that. We need to get out of this. We we need to get out of this. I'll kind of sidetrack quickly to give you an example. The government with this new work advertisement stuff, right? A lot of people are going to complain, and again, I don't work in that section, so I don't have any affiliation. I'm just interpreting what I hear on the road. Basically, the reason why people are going to have a problem with how that operates now, you know the main reason, is because we refuse to, as a people, to give any information to anybody. We don't want to have to sign up to get anything. I don't want them to know well, that's not how the new world works. The world works that if a service is available for you, and all they require is you put your name, your phone number, and possible what kind of job you want to be able to access the information to get you a better job, well, I would do that. People need to get off this horse about, I don't want to provide information. They want it the old way. The government is trying to put something in place so that they can track the people who are not necessarily offering these jobs to Caymanians. But, you know, we're not going to open a system where you come in there and we fill out the form for you. No, you have to do something. Everybody have a smartphone. If you don't have if you don't have data, you go to one of the new public Wi-Fi parks or next to the library, and then you open it there and you put in the information. You have to trust that somebody's creating a system to help you, and that it will help you if you comply, if you just go through the process.
Well, I hear you, right? And that's an excellent point for a very, very engaged discussion on a separate point. But maybe before we go to the break quickly, just engage a little further on two things. Your last point, whether it's work or whether there's some other system. Why can it not be an open system that you can just look at, and unless you want information sent to you, unless you're actually looking for work, for some sort of employment, then should you have to register? And if you have to register, think of it, if we can apply to government for freedom of information, and we can make up any bogus address and pseudonym and a fake name, why not the same? I hear your concerns about providing information, right? But if we live in a world where we seem that our leadership, even in our churches, even in our businesses, even in our governments, not just in, not talking about just in Cayman, I'm talking about in the world, that don't prove trustworthy or credible, then we need to address that, right? So if the employer normally can advertise in some way for potential employees, whether it's a local publication, whether it's an industry magazine, or whether it's internationally or just across the street, should not that employer be required to say, listen, ABC company is looking for an accountant, the salary range is this, these are the qualifications, as opposed to, on behalf of our client, we're looking for somebody that can do bookkeeping and yada, 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 yada. You don't know who you're playing for. It could be your own job, right? So maybe we need to be more specific.
Well, that has always been one of my issues, Dwayne. Not to cut you, but that's always been one of my issues, is that, I'm hoping that, you have to take baby steps, and we can say as a government, this and that. But remember now, all the government decisions or systems are by civil servants that actually is just like you and me in there.
Well, maybe the decisions. The implementation is by them, but maybe the decisions are being made by others. I don't want to cut you either.
But they don't go into the micro. They don't go into the micro of it. So I mean,
you want
but I've always said that if you run an ad, and this was all my pet peeve, if you run an ad and it didn't have a salary, then the ad should not count, period. And we never were able to achieve that. Hopefully with this system, they can say, this ad does not qualify. We're not accepting it because it doesn't have a salary range in there. End of story. I never understand those things.
I appreciate you sharing. I apologize to you. I got a break. Can't promise that I'll always get to them on time, but I'll try. With that, though, let's go hit this break. When we come back, let's welcome Miss Katina in. She's been sitting patiently standing by. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, K-Man. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations. Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of. Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low, we can't say them on the radio. Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes. The 8 a.m. news is brought to you Monday through Friday by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For information as it happens and questions on the Emergency Withdrawal Pension Program, visit chamberpension.ky.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication?
No, I think I forgot to pick it up.
Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly.
I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with K-Man Medical Supplies. 100% K-Manian owned. K-Man Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by K-Man Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We know there has been a lot of changes, and K-Man Medical Supplies is here for the community. From gloves and sanitizers to mandatory supplies, including masks. Hours are now Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. till noon. Free delivery island-wide.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Certainly invite you to be a part of a discussion. I'm always excited to hear from our listeners. And sometimes, there's things they say that you say, wow, I wish I could say it as well as that. I wish I had the courage to say that. And other times they say things and you go, never thought of that. That's an excellent point. And there are even times when they say things and you go, no, I wouldn't have said that, Bobo. Well, that's what makes a society a healthy democracy. And I commend each of you for the courage, for making time to share with us. It is open line. We'll take your calls. We'll get into much, discussion. But I'm very grateful for Miss Katrina Anglin for taking some time out of her day. She's about the community, always helpful to all and Sunday alike, and she's finding time to share with us publicly. Miss Katrina, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, Cayman Islands. God bless you all.
All right, amen to that, boy. And I tell you, the blessings that rain from on high, make us a grateful people. So thank you. And can I say publicly, a very, very special thanks for the discussion on Friday. And honestly, whether or not you had a script or a plan and outline, but it resonated well with our listeners. If I can say it from 2 perspectives, maybe I'll try to find in my notes some of the points people shared with me. But one was a few people who otherwise said, they thought that they understood civics to an extent, and they thought that there was a healthy understanding and appreciation and discussion of it. But following our discussion on Friday, they realized it's not enough to just have it in the schools. It's something that we need to engage in our homes, and we're not really as aware. And as I was listening to the last caller, I sort of made the analogy. Here we are in a financial services center. A lot of us at one point in time we're sort of steered towards working in that sector. Worker bees, probably more than anything else. But how much we really understand, as the caller said, our rights, have the confidence to go to our banks to negotiate, have the sort of grounding to say to the bank, well, you offer me this, but what about this? So knowledge is power. They say to us, education is empowering as well as equalizing. So maybe that discussion will spark another interest. Who knows, right, Ms. Katina? Who knows?
Who knows? But first to me, let me say thank you for commending the callers who do call in to speak your mind. And I think it's really important what you said about, maybe I might not have said it as good as that, or I don't think it's about speaking perfectly. I think it's about sharing your view. And we shouldn't be intimidated by the way that someone else speaks, to the point where we refuse to speak, because we have the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression. And in that comes the differentiation between you and I in the way that we choose to, or the way that we are equipped to express ourselves. Yes, there are those who use much, much more, as Honorable Roy Borden said one time, flowery language. And there are those of us who speak in quite simple language. I, like Paul, choose to speak in simple language so that I may be understood by many. But nonetheless, what is important is that we express ourselves. The things that are working well, call in and commend it, so that the persons who are working well can be edified by or praised by our applause. The things that aren't working well, call in and make suggestions about, never make a complaint without making a suggestion, offering at least one possible solution. It may not be the best solution, but it is a solution. It does go to show that you did give some degree of thought to how it could work better. But call in and say, this is the experience I had, and, perhaps you may want to look at doing things this way, or I know for experience that it can work better this way, and so I just want the powers to be, because I don't know who exactly it is, but I want them to know that there's a better way of doing things. But the important thing is to express yourself and express it in an acceptable way. Your way, but acceptable, not to be an affront to anybody else, but to get your point across in a respectful manner. And the gentleman that called in just now, the last caller, he spoke about his rights. He said, I know my rights. And he was talking about a relationship in banking. But this is something that not a lot of us can say, not only just in banking or in a banking relationship, but do we know our rights as far as walking on the road? Do we know our rights as a bicyclist? Do we know our rights when it comes to medical care? Do we know our rights? How much of our rights do we know? Now, how many people are aware that we actually have a Bill of Rights? And how many people are aware of the rights that Constitution affords to us and the value of those rights? Because our Constitution is the highest land in the law, and it governs the way that the government executes its business towards the public. It is the document that governs the relationship between the citizen and the state. So, when we're talking about I know my rights, this is something I want to continue to encourage Caymanians to be able to say, I know my rights. And you may not be able to express it in legal terminology, but at least you know that, hey, I think right now my rights are being violated. If I understood it, you're violating my rights because I happen to know my rights, And I want to commend that gentleman for calling in and sharing his knowledge with people and encouraging other people. And he also said something else that was very important for us to always remember when we're dealing with the government. He spoke about the executive, and there was a consensus between you and he that they're just human beings, right? They're trying to fulfill the laws, the regulations, the policies, the procedures, and so on. But they're just human beings. They could very well go wrong, in execution of their duties. And if you think that you have been wronged, it is your responsibility to say, I'm mindful whether or not I've just been treated in the right way, whether or not my rights have been violated. And I'd like to talk about this a little bit because my understanding of it is this, and to go ahead and express yourself. And in a good civil servant will receive that questioning with grace and say, well, this is the way I understood it, but I'll speak with my supervisor and see what his or her input into the situation is. And then we have departments such as the Human Rights Commission and the Ombudsman's Office that can help us to look into whether or not our rights have been violated. Has the government acted administratively lawful towards us, you know? So I want to thank the caller for calling in today because it was very delightful listening to him.
Mm-hmm. You know, and as I recognize we have the news break, and this is why I think having, the format that we have at times to encourage people, hopefully, it'll always be my endeavor to facilitate discussion. I know sometimes I may, unfortunately, assume that the caller wishes to engage further as opposed to just vent, and maybe put forward a particular perspective. But if we can have a society where people feel a sense of freedom that they can ask a question and not be condemned because they don't know the answer, or that, oh, this probably is a stupid question. Well, there are probably some stupid questions, but if you don't know the answer, chances are other people don't have the courage to ask that question either. And we'll all labor under a sense of ignorance, and then that is the foolishness of not having that question asked. So courage. Now, Ms. Coutinho, we do have the news break, I believe, if I watch my clock correctly. But when we come back, let's engage in some further discussion and learn from each other and learn to freely share in an open, very, very accommodating manner. To our listeners, it is open line, so Coutinho will weigh in as I've asked her to, and she is no stranger to sharing a perspective from an informed position. So I'm grateful for that courage and conviction. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. Simon Newball, the 44-year-old from Georgetown, arrested on June 25th, has now been formally charged with threats to kill, possession of a controlled drug, consumption of a controlled drug, 3 counts of assaulting police, 2 counts of possession of a prohibited weapon, and 3 counts of causing fear or provocation of violence. He was due to appear in court this morning. In international headlines, a divided U.S. Supreme Court today strikes down a Louisiana law regulating abortion clinics, reasserting a commitment to abortion rights over fierce opposition from dissenting conservative justices in the first big abortion case of the Trump era. Chief Justice John Roberts and his 4 more liberal colleagues ruled that the law requiring doctors who perform abortions have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals violates the abortion rights the court first announced in the landmark Roe v. Wade decision in 1973. The Louisiana law is virtually identical to one in Texas that the court struck down in 2016. Authorities extend a partial lockdown in a western German district hit hard by a big coronavirus outbreak at a slaughterhouse. The measures were imposed on Gütersloh County, home to some 360,000 people, for an initial 1-week period nearly a week ago. Cinemas, gyms, and bars were closed, but stores remained open and able to serve customers from the same household. People from the district have faced restrictions on travel elsewhere in Germany. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
It's not Toolfest at A.L. Thompson's, but it's almost as good. Toolfest has been an annual 2-day event since 2009, but because of current events, there will be no live demos. But that's okay, because what will be at Not Toolfest is the deepest discounts of the year on select hand tools and power tools for 3 weeks. Save big on tools by Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, Skill, Dremel, and other power brands, and get 15% off all items in the tools department now through July 4th. Remember that Father's Day is June 21st, so give them a big boy toy from A.L. Thompson's during Not Toolfest.
Cineco is pleased to announce that our offices in Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac have reopened to the public. Cineco will be open to serve our valued clients from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. until further notice. Recommended physical distancing and enhanced sanitization procedures have been implemented in our offices, and visitors will be required to wear face masks for the safety of all concerned. On behalf of the Cineco team, we look forward to serving you.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane. Debris includes roofing materials, tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles and must not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Stop the spread of coronavirus by washing your hands with soap frequently. If none is available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay at home whenever you can. Avoid close contact with people outside your household by staying a minimum of 6 feet apart and wear a mask while in public. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Now, we have the excellent company. It's an open line segment, so we can talk about any and everything, but I'm honored that Ms. Katina Anglin would be willing to share some time with her. So, Ms. Katina, hey, thanks very much, man. As we get into our discussion, got a couple of comments I want to share, but first, anything in particular you may want to relate to our listeners? Okay, Ms. Katina? All right, let me see, make sure. Miss Susan, I know sometimes, boy, we make life challenging. We'll get there at some point. I'm not able to hear her. It's the beautiful, challenging world of this environment. 949-8037. Now there's, yep. Okay, Miss Susan, I'm hearing only me in my head repeating, how do we fix that? All right. Well, it's fun. The work we give Miss Susan when she comes back. Apologies publicly to you for having to deal with us. All right, Miss Katina, are you there? I know Miss Susan say you are, and for whatever reason I can't hear you. We go to the break and we come back and it's the world over again. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. And as we're going to discuss in and everything, certainly some things I want to share and maybe ask specifically. But until I can hear her properly. What about you, Miss Susan? Can I hear you? Because I can't hear our guests. I'll, we got to work. We got to work out, boy. I have to wonder sometimes, and this is why I saying to people, you know, be mindful that who are working remotely, that we're not appreciative of the stress that they wonder because they have so much to do, and maybe even a self because they're not there. Some of us, for argument's sake, believe that if we're at work between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., that shows a sign of productivity. Others would have to say, well, if you can get a lot done between 8 and 5, you don't have to worry about being there between 5 and 8. Not always the case. Anyway, technology is a great servant, not always the best master. I was looking, and I see that as I was reading something someone has shared in relation to the continuing deployment of artificial intelligence and how the machine learning is taking place, and that we have you know this opportunity to automate things and seemingly recognize how important it is. Um, it's a challenge, but we get there. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. Remember, you can call and share your thoughts. You can also WhatsApp. We'll figure out how to make that work for you as well and leverage. I had a couple of comments that came through in relation to the gentleman who called earlier, and one in particular was the whole issue of checks and the like. And I just wanted to relay, but I wanted to have Miss Katina to ensure that I know she's hearing me. The challenge is that for some reason I'm not hearing her, and as she was answering, I can't hear what she was sharing. So maybe you could hear her. Oi, how
Dwayne?
things? Yes, ma'am. There you are.
Okay, there I am. Here I am,
But
there I am, here we are.
there you go. And for
Okay.
what it's worth, just more challenges, more buttons to balance. And but thank you. I
Yeah.
know that you were presumably able to hear me, and I'm sorry for whatever reason I wasn't able to hear you. And if I can't hear you, then I can't respond to what you're saying. So we'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it.
We
All
get
right.
it. So,
There we go.
yeah. Now,
Go
I'd
ahead.
like
Go
to
ahead.
respond. I'd like to respond to your opening sentence to me earlier when you were talking about
Mm-hmm.
that one of the comments received from Friday's show was about leaving it to the school or not leaving it to the school, right? That is the question.
Yeah.
And
Not only to the yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I don't think it's something that you can leave to the school. To we can begin it. We can add it into our curriculum now. We can include it in our school curriculum. We can teach it from the first day of primary school, and we can teach it all the way straight through to graduation from high school. Maybe we want to add peace in as a part of a college education as well. But no, it also has to happen in the home, and it has to happen in the environment because of the impact that the home and the community has on the mind. And one of the callers on Friday was saying, well, most people now are above 50 and kind of stuck in their mindsets and stuff. I happen to believe that you can teach an old dog new tricks. And I think once you can show a person a rational argument and a good reason why to change the path that they are on, that they are willing to change that. And so I think it's our collective responsibility to gather as much information as we can and to discuss that information amongst ourselves and with other people so to be sure that we are understanding it and share that information so that we can change the way that we think. I think that it's not just a school education project. It is all of we project.
Yeah. Community.
Yeah. Because we have to understand, we have to accept, and then we have to take an active role in shaping the future, in the role that the citizens play in shaping the future of the country.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you shared that because when I look at this last comment here, I may be able to try to read somewhere because I've been involved in the bits and pieces that are related to other things, but the salient point is that in talking to civics, this comment sort of reads the fact that we expect schools to do all this, but what are we doing in our homes, in our communities? And when I was looking at it during the break and reading over, I sort of picked up again what I thought when I first read it on Friday, that this needs to be, my word, an organic sort of evolving thing as part and parcel of everyday personal development, that we know that the person, for instance, comments that how much do we know about our rights, not just that we got a copy of the Constitution and we have it handed to refer, or we teach it as if we're teaching a class on constitutional law. But do you know your rights as a citizen? Do you know what rights the police have if they come to you and say, okay, I need to search you? And was it stop and seizure, for instance? Is that a right that police have automatically? And if so, you know,
Right, right. And I'm hopeful that one day we can include a representative from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, because if you're going to talk about civics, right, we can't have a meaningful discussion without including the police into it. And I really, really look forward to that. But one thing I'd like to share a quote about why it's important for citizens to play their civic role. And this quote comes from Civics Online, civics-online.org. And that is a free website where any citizen can access information. Not 100% of the information is free of charge. There are education packages on there that you can pay for, or that rather that you have to pay for to access. But the majority of information on there is free of charge. It's easily accessible. It's written in plain language. Anybody can understand what it is on there. And it's the general principles of civics. So whichever country that you are in, it's still going to apply, because you're still talking about being a citizen in a country and the role that you need to play. So it's not like a US or a UK or a Pakistani approach to civics. It's all about what is the role of the citizen in guiding the country forward. Agreed, looking at some countries, there's a greater challenge for the citizen, but nonetheless, you have a role to play. And so the quote is this: a good, solid civics education is critically important to maintaining a free democratic government. If people do not understand the importance of voting and elections and how they affect their lives, being the voting and the elections, it can result in an ever-growing, more powerful government that imposes its will upon the general public. In other words, you're falling into a dictatorship when you don't play your civic role. So for those of us who think that, you know, we can sit back and leave everything to the politicians because we can't be bothered. I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to get wrapped up in that. Well, I don't want to take no part in that, and so on and so forth, right? What we're doing is we just chucking bricks on the other side of the scale, weighting the scale against ourselves democratically. Not for ourselves, but against ourselves, right? And so
yeah, that sort of reads into one of the other comments that we had in this message, in that, you know, how can we have a democratic society, a healthy democracy, if we don't have people who understand their law, their rights, the laws that govern them, and be able to, you know, engage, as it were. I'm just looking for one particular sentence I recall from it that I want to read. It really, really strikes hard, and that you just mentioned it. You know, we leave so much for others, we don't ourselves get sufficiently involved. So if we don't know what the law is, or that there is a potential law about that thing, not even knowing what the law says, but there is one, then how can we engage? You know, as an aside, for instance, someone just made a comment about the whole issue of the distances now that we have to observe when we go into places. The regulations, I think, no, I could be wrong, it could be the law, but the law and our regulations prescribe that you got to be a certain, you know, distance apart. If not, there is a have to fine if you're not. So how do we enforce that? And the fact is, you know, should there be even a law in the first place about that sort of distancing? Think of the challenges in restaurants and bars and supermarkets, standing in line. two people close together as the police officer come up and now write you a ticket because if it's 6 feet, you're 5'11" and a quarter inches.
Yeah, yeah. Now, probably too vast for a discussion here about the numerous
No, that's
concerns
not
that
for us.
there is in the human rights field. There is a lot of scrutiny being applied, a lot of scrutiny about the laws that have been applied globally as a result of COVID-19. Take, for example, one of the biggest, most heavily focused on areas now is the restriction of freedom to religion. And the Department of Justice just wrote to, I think it was New York, the state of New York, to the mayor and to the governor of New York about the restriction of freedom of religion. And, you got down into something just now when you're talking about the distance between two people and the regulations that govern them, right? So exactly how are we really supposed to carry out these regulations? And to what extent, what power of discretion do the police have when they observe it? Am I a person who's quite able to judge what 6 feet is? Sorry. Is the person ahead of me or behind me someone who has the same judgment in the absence of these stickers on the floor? Not everywhere you go have these stickers on the floor. But then if you're passing in the same aisle, and you're on one side of the aisle looking at cherries, and I'm on the next side of the aisle looking at peanuts, and there's 4 feet between the two of us, are we then guilty of an offense? And there's so much that, Dwayne? Okay, there's so much that comes into play with that, right? I was just checking to make sure I was still connected or not.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing too, right? You're not sure, you can't see the person. Yeah, man. I'm here though.
Things in the studio are much simpler, Gene, because I knew you were there.
We got to get back in the studio, man. We got to get back in the studio.
Get back in the studio. Come on, that desk is big enough for two of us since we talked about social distancing. I'll sit on the south side and you sit on the north side.
We got to do it, man. We got to do it. But, on your point, right, one of our very engaged, informed listeners, shares a comment and says, educated democracy is the only way forward. And referencing that, engaged, informed, active voters, elect, so smart voters, elect people who are aware, who have the wherewithal of what the community needs and what sort of laws need proposing and amending. So that comes down to, if we understand more about our society, then we become better policymakers, we become better voters, better citizens. And that isn't going to, it's not going to happen in a vacuum. It isn't going to happen without a degree of effort. So conversations like this, for instance, can bring, to light certain things. I mean, what if, for instance, we had discovered that we still have on our law books a particular piece of legislation that said something like, you may read about in other jurisdictions because somebody deliberately went about saying, do you know you have a law from 100 or 200 or 300 years ago that said if you walk your cow, on a Friday afternoon after 5 o'clock, you would be fined, what amounts to like a 1 cent or something like that, right? There are probably laws like that.
You're talking about a town and country law, man. Town and community law, I think, is the proper name of it. It talks about you're drawing your horse and your carriage and so on. Beating your rugs in front of the house and different things. There's actual laws like that. It's still honorable.
They are, and I would even reference one if I could refer to it specifically, but they are, as you said, but we don't pay attention to them. I mean, one of the most glaring things, I don't know sure if it's still on our books or if it's been subsequently amended, I hope it has, but our labor legislation laws, laws relating to sort of labor practices, and if you were hard at work, you might get like 3 cents or something in today's inflationary terms. They were a lot of money maybe at one point in time, Is it the same? Look at the gambling law, if that's what it's called. Way back when, sometime before a judge, the magistrate had said, no sense in enforcing this law because the fine is so, so small, so she's not going to, proceed with the case. I thought that was what was reported in the media. Now, how do we address those things? It's amazing, right? What we
Yeah.
look at, what we ignore. But
No.
again, the whole issue of if I just, physical distance and someone wrote in, not, I don't think to be jovial or facetious, but it's like, I said, the old practice where the teacher, or was it the headmistress, would come along and take a ruler and measure the length of the girls' skirts. And we're gonna have a constable out in public. I mean, one other person writes in and says, we really got to decide, are we going to take the risk and open up, or are we not? We need to decide which way forward because trying to enforce some of these laws, like enforcing laws against morality, just not possible.
I think also we have to accept that we share a degree of responsibility for our own well-being. If the government is saying to you, stay 6 feet away from someone, or stay 6 feet away from everyone and wear a face mask in public for your own benefit to reduce risk of transmitting this or contracting this illness, and you choose to go there throwing two hands in the air and skipping along the road, singing skip, skip, skip to Malou, you contract coronavirus regardless of how it's contracted, but you contract it. Well, we have to accept that that probably wasn't anybody else's fault or responsibility than your own, Now, I said last time I have my own personal concerns and viewpoints on coronavirus. So I want to skip away from that topic right now and perhaps hold that discussion a bit further on because there are other things that are developing. But you made a comment just a little bit earlier about the value of knowledge when it comes to voting, right? And I want to share a lengthier quote. And the reason why I want to share quotes is because I don't want anybody out there thinking I've concocted this stuff. And this is just my steadfast opinion on the matter. And whether or not they think that I'm right or I think that I'm right, I want to share quotes because I want to share valid information. And because I want people to understand that these guidances exist. This is not something that I or you woke up with yesterday morning or Friday morning as a divine impartation and boom, there we had all this knowledge. It's there. It exists. It's real. It's there for you. And it's very valuable and it's very effective, right? And it's stuff that we need to know as citizens because each democratic society requires people to fulfill their roles and their duties in the society to help make it work. So from the same website, we have the same website, Civics Online, and it's about why students should learn about civics, right? But with the acknowledgement that we have a society that has that chunk of information missing through probably 2, maybe 3 generations. In short, there are 4 reasons that it gives, and those 4 reasons are sort of, the fundamental of government, which department is doing what, and I can expand on that a bit further on. I think I spoke on it on Friday, actually. The ownership as citizens, which is when citizens they claims as lawful citizens, right? And the limitations of government and proactive and knowledgeable voting, and this is the quote that I want to use here, and that voting is an important duty of every citizen, not some, not the elderly, not the 18-year-old only, not just the sandwich generation, but it is the duty of every citizen. And I just interjected in that quote, sorry. Let me start the quote again. Voting is an important duty of every citizen. Every vote counts in each election, and it is through voting that people can make sure that their voices are heard. Civics education also gives people the knowledge they need to make informed decisions as they listen to politicians, campaign speeches or read news stories about people running for office. They can reference their civic lessons to separate fact from fiction, allowing them to become educated and proactive voters. The informed citizen is what that is speaking about, right? And the value of voting, because we need to accept the simple fact in this country, and that is, if you don't want to go vote, and you don't want to play your role as a citizen in guiding the country forward, then please just shut up when things aren't going your way. Because you didn't invoke your right to speak because your vote, not that without voting means that you don't have the right to speak. There could have been something to stop you from getting to the poll that day. But overall, you are an active citizen in your community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have listened to people time and time again, and they say, no, I'm not going to vote because I'm not voting for no corrupt politicians. I still go vote for the one that's not corrupt. Just do something, you know? And but I'm not going down there to stand in a line from 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what time I'm going to get in. Okay, but you won't complain for the next 4 years? So it's easier for you to deal with 4 years of complaining than it is for you to go stand in a line so you can put down your X so you can go back to the elected representative and say, in the 2017 election, I voted as I did in 2013 and as I did in the 2005 and so on and so forth. Yeah. And this is our responsibility. Yeah. And if the ones that are there aren't working, then vote for somebody else. If the ones that are there, they're working, well, then vote for them. Mm-hmm. But go vote.
All right. I've got a caller online, got a WhatsApp that shared is very sort of fitting for what you just shared. We've got to pause to take a break, and I know you have many, many things to do, so I appreciate you sharing with us. You have a few extra minutes, so you want to stay on and be part of our discussion?
I can stay with you until probably 2 o'clock.
All right. Well, you stay as long as you feel you're able to. You're most welcome. To our caller, respectfully, just hang on. Quick short break. When we come back, we'll join our caller. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Vamped Motors and RBC Royal Bank are making it easy for you to buy your new car or truck. The Spring into Summer Sale at Vamped Motors is going on now with no money down and no monthly payments for up to 12 months on select models only. That's no monthly payments for up to 12 months or until June 2021 on select models only. Offer ends June 30th. Find out how you can drive home the best deal of the year and call Vamped at 949-8288 or email sales@vampedmotors.com.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, K-Man. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations. Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of. Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low, we can't say them on the radio. Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication?
No, I think I forgot to pick it up.
Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly.
I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
Honey,
Our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us. It is open line. We have the excellent company of Miss Katina Anglin sharing with us. We're all doing it remotely. Thank you for listening and thank you for calling. Miss Katina, we do have a caller online. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. All right, let's go to our phones. Thank you. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, young man. How are you today, sir?
Oh, wonderful. Listening to Miss Katina talk there a little bit about civics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very engaging.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Interesting subject. Need to have more conversations like this. And
thank you.
On the matter of voting. Voting is only one part of democracy.
Yes.
Just one part of democracy. And, like when you go to make a cassava cake, you got to have all the different ingredients. Otherwise, that cassava cake don't taste good. Cassava is one, yeah, but they also have other. So, in order for democracy to work, there needs to be measurability and accountability.
Yes.
And how do you measure those things in our system of governance? Because too many of our members in the Legislative Assembly believe that you have an election and then for 4 years they don't want to hear from the electorate. They don't want the electorate saying anything about anything. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. I'm also hearing a fuzzy kind of sound. Is that everybody else or is it just me?
Oh, okay. I don't know what it is, but anyway.
No, anybody else hear it? I mean, I hate to ask a public.
Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. Are you there, sir? Well, I have to wonder sometimes, When good people say things, if you're not deliberate, not to hinder them. Are you there, sir? IV. All right. We're going to get that sorted out. I do apologize to the caller and to the others. And it's just, if it's an attempt to frustrate you boys, when people's voices are silenced, But Ms. Catino, you can chat if you want.
Yeah, that is good. He spoke of two things which I was going to speak more in depth to further on. But it is about about democracy, and it is part of the citizen's role. And he was talking about measurability and accountability, right? And how do you measure a politician's performance? Well, I think part of what has happened to us for a long time is that we didn't understand we had to measure their performance. We voted from personalities for a very, very long time. I voted for him because I like him. I voted for him because he's my cousin. I voted for him for all these various reasons that had nothing to do with, and him could be him or her, all right? All these reasons that has nothing to do with building the country, guiding the country, developing the country, nothing of the sort. We voted for personalities. But each candidate has a manifesto. And in that manifesto, they lay out what their goals are, their promises to the people. this is the document that we engaged them on. So they say to us, I'm going to do these 10 things in the next 4 years. And those of us who are wise enough to ask, well, looking at items number 7, items number 8, item number 9, is it really possible that you could fulfill those 3 as well as the other 7? And engage in the conversation with them pre-election, when they're out there and they're campaigning and they're lifting their manifesto up and they're giving you all these promises, they're entering into a contract with you. They're saying, I'm going to do this if you vote for me. So this is where the consideration comes in. And we're looking at it and saying, well, yeah, I'll take those 10 things and give you my vote. So we do this agreement, we sign this agreement in the polling booth, right? So post-election now, you have to have the execution of the contract. And so now he needs to live up to the 10 items that he put on his manifesto. What we as citizens need to do is we need to monitor the performance of that manifesto. Did they actually build a new sidewalk that is 18 feet long that was necessary for disabled persons to be able to move freely? Did they whatever it is that they have put on their manifesto, we need to check have they actually done these things, right? That's
But
measurability.
if I hear you right, and I could just add in, those things perhaps are good if we have specific measurable sort of objectives as they were in the manifesto, right? I'm going to build a sidewalk, very tangible. But then what if there are more policy-oriented things, not just proposed legislation or amended legislation, but other things? We see some of the I don't want to call them objectives, but some of the ideas, the proposals, they're I don't put air of error, but just the way they're written themselves. Is it possible to hold anybody accountable on how it's worded?
Sorry.
Should it always be that it is as measurable? Could it be more of a lofty ideal, more of a policy, or some sort of attempt to shape a particular view?
Okay.
If you follow,
So if you're looking at the manifesto before the election, right? We are actively engaging the candidate and saying, I don't think this is possible. Can you tell me how you plan to accomplish this? Because I don't really see where it is possible to accomplish this, right? And the candidate tells you straight out, says, listen, I'm not 100% sure exactly how I'm going to accomplish it. I know it needs to be done. I've put it on my manifesto. It's one of the things I intend to get done. So now you have a question mark. Instead of a tick mark, you have a question mark at number 7. Because you know there's a possibility he may not. So in your assessment of his performance, right, you already have that question mark there. You knew that there was the possibility, it was his desire, right? Now, when we're talking about the measurability, we're also looking at the depth and degree of that action. If he's there and he spent the last 4 years hammering away, holding meetings on this point, going on the radio about this point, he's in the newspaper talking about this point, he's in the house talking about this point, and every time that he brings it up, the door is slammed in his face. Let me tell you what happened. He was 100% successful in his attempt to fulfill point number 1 on his manifesto. All right? He was 100% successful in his effort level. He tried. And I think we also look at it and we say, well, how else then we as citizens are watching a candidate trying to accomplish a task and he's not getting the momentum that he needs to accomplish it? Is that where we jump in and we join on the bandwagon and we say, listen, I'm going to add my voice to his chant? I'm now going to call politician number 2 from West Bay, politician number 3, because number 2 is already on board. I'm going to ask them if they would lend their voice, or why haven't they lent their voice to this thing? Do they understand the necessity of it? I'm going to call the radio station. I'm going to speak about his efforts. I'm going to help to drum up some more sound for this cause, because it is a worthwhile cause. It is a part of his manifesto. He is working hard trying to complete his manifesto as he promised that he would, you know. So there are, these are the ingredients of the cassava cake of democracy that the gentleman was just speaking about, because there are different roles that we have to play, right? And you know, when we know what is expected of us, then we start to act on what it is that we know, so that we can help to bring about a desirable outcome, right? Now, the accountability part of it, the accountability goes on as long as that person is in the house. And I can tell you how you make it quite clear to them that they were found unaccountable. You don't vote for them in the next election. All right? If they failed in their manifesto and their effort level was knocking down there in the low 50s and below 50 and stuff like that, you don't need to consider them for the next election.
Yeah, man. You know, that's the thing where perhaps I should read this particular comment that came through. But that's the thing where sometimes we, and I'll be mindful of this, that it's not that I don't want to say it, but that I don't say it, that it's misunderstood. Sometimes we copy things like term limits, for instance. Maybe a good idea in that particular jurisdiction at a particular time, but maybe not necessarily, you know, in our jurisdiction at that time. But it also takes away the power in many cases from the voter. You know, if you set an arbitrary term limit, you know, no more than 2 terms or 3 terms or 4 terms, the person is effective or well liked, and that in itself can be translated as effectiveness. But you can't you re-elect that person again because they've come to the end of that term limit. You know, I think the voters need to be engaged and informed for as much as possible, so that when they vote, as you said, you know, they voted. Can I read this WhatsApp that was sent through to us earlier?
Sure.
Says definitely we have to change the way we vote. It is always the poorer people who turn out in majority to vote. During elections, there are too many handouts are given, right? A handout, yeah. Not until the politicians are charged for this, then there will be any change. There will be not any. Yeah, that is one of the main reasons why we get the same ones over and over. We all know what happens, so do not smite our conscience. Sometimes I like to read it as best I can, or as written. Sometimes it's probably better to, but you know, the thing is though, again, accountability enforcement goes both ways, right?
And they do. Why are you going to a politician to get a handout? That's the question that every citizen needs to ask themselves before they go vote. Why am I going to a politician for a handout? Now, the politicians are there to help. They make the laws. Those laws are meant for the betterment of society. They're there to build structures and systems, right? Those structures and systems are there to aid the citizen into a better quality of life. It's all about a better quality of life, a better standard of living, right? So if I find myself going to a politician's door repeatedly because I am looking a handout, there is one or two, or possibly 2 things absolutely wrong. Either he has not built an effective system for you, or you're too lazy to go through the system, or it is just more convenient for you and for him for you to continue to knock on that door. And we got to be careful when we go knocking on politicians' doors. There are sometimes when you have to go to speak to a politician, they are your elected representatives. But their mandate really is to build systems to help get you through whatever difficulty it is that you're going through. So maybe you don't know what system or what structure that you're supposed to use, right? So he will say, you know what? Let me get my personal assistant to help you to fill out the forms so you can access this particular service, which comes under this ministry that you, according to what you are telling me now, you have qualified for. I worked hard to put the system in place so that when people come to me with situations such as yours, you are able to be assisted through and help you to get on your feet, help you to conquer this giant that you're facing right now, right? Are there times when it's necessary for a politician to give a financial handout? I believe that it is, because the situation could have come up so suddenly that it would only be the humane thing to do. I think that's an exceptional gesture, right?
They know too, because they're right there and directly involved sometimes. They have a conscience. They see it, and their heart probably goes out. It's not just to influence the vote. It's just that, wow, I didn't realize this thing was this bad.
Yeah, and let me help you out with this. But it shouldn't just be a handout and then I'm going to close the door. It should start first with assistance in the system, and the handout comes at the tail end of concluding our meeting of what I figure all that I can afford to help you to understand and help you through this, right? But we need to consider this strongly. If the system that exists now is not easily accessible to us, and if we are not working our hardest to work the system, if we are not working our hardest to be productive citizens and using the system only as needed, but we are looking towards politicians for handouts, what really are we doing to our communities and to our country and to ourselves and to our families? Because I can assure you this much. Each individual in this country who is employable has the capability of earning more than what you're going to get from a politician's handout at any given moment. You got to repeat that quite a few times to make that add up to a month's salary.
Right.
And I think it's time for us to focus on fulfilling our potential instead of finding the politician's phone number and front door.
Exactly. Well, when we come back from this break, I know you have to head off at 2, so I appreciate that. Maybe we can pick that further or take it on a different vein as you wish. To our listeners, it's going to be open line until 2:30. Ms. Katina will join us until 2. So give us a shout and share your thoughts if you want to engage us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today, it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
It's not Toolfest at A.L. Thompson's, but it's almost as good. Toolfest has been an annual 2-day event since 2009, but because of current events, there will be no live demos. But that's okay, because what will be at Not Toolfest is the deepest discounts of the year on select hand tools and power tools for 3 weeks. Save big on tools by Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, Skill, Dremel, and other power brands, and get 15% off all items in the tools department now through July 4th. Remember that Father's Day is June 21st, so give them a big boy toy from A.L. Thompson's during Not Toolfest.
Travel between the 3 Cayman Islands remains restricted until further notice. Persons may only travel between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman to provide essential services or for emergency medical purposes. Persons traveling between any of the 3 islands may do this by contacting BRAC Travel at gov.ky with the details of their proposed travel, including purpose of visit, length of stay, accommodations, etc. Applications will be processed on a case-by-case basis. All individuals traveling traveling to the sister islands from Grand Cayman must undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation period at a government facility. They will be tested on the 15th day, and direct transportation to the airport will be arranged if they have a negative result.
The Cayman Islands government reusable cloth mask distribution is almost complete. With the assistance of the RCIPS community police officers and community safety officers, they are conducting the final distributions in various communities across Grand Cayman. If by chance you have not received a mask as yet, visit Kirk's Eastern Avenue Car Park, Monday, June 22nd, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Foster's Republic West Bay Car Park, Tuesday, June 23rd, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Foster's Camana Bay Car Park, Wednesday, June 24th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Hurley's Red Bay Car Park, Thursday, June 25th, 4 to 6 p.m. Foster's Countryside Car Park, Friday, June 26th, 4 to 6 p.m. Stay safe, Cayman.
Talk to Dick. But I do have some questions. Talk to Dick.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk to Dick.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And the excellent company of Miss Katina Anglin sharing with us. I know you had a news break at 2, Miss Katina. You get back to saving the world and serving the community. But thank you for sharing with us, right?
It's great to be here, Dwayne. It's great to be here.
Yeah, man. And it's good that we are getting people to actively and openly consider certain things and to think and to talk and perhaps to not just question but to seek answers and knowledge. Because after all, that is what we should be about. But as you were sharing, I mean, for people that seemingly to date may not have fully appreciated the importance of the voter. For instance, I said one time, and then I said it a couple of times after people gave me the flack about it, I said some more, that we always point fingers at the politician, the elected person. We, hold them accountable. We, speak ill of them. But it's the voter, for the most part, that goes out and marks that X, puts that mark on that ballot to give a nod to that person. So if the voter isn't engaged, isn't informed, isn't active, then can you really say all the blame or responsibility lies with the person who is elected for the next X years?
Not if the responsibility for measurability and accountability lies with the voter. Where are you? I can't. I haven't ever held a job yet where my boss left me totally unsupervised, never checked in with me. Just continue to cut me a check week after week, or let me just say every payday, and I never once picked up my work, flipped through it, never asked me any questions, never came sit at my desk. I haven't ever had such a job. I have had jobs where my boss had confidence in me and said, I'm going to leave you to get this done. I know that you will. And then they came back and they checked to make sure I got it done. And likewise must we be with our politicians. We have to encourage them. We have to be supportive of them in their efforts to make changes and to build a community and stuff. And we also have to be critical, positively critical of them, right? Mm-hmm. When they are not fulfilling their obligations, or when they have gone MIA, we have to draw in the reins on them and say, listen, I need to bring you back to this work desk.
Right.
And you need to get the job and you need to get it done right.
Yeah. Equally too, though, I think we need, when it comes to the electoral process, not just go up and get registered to vote, not just show up on election day to cast a ballot, but we always complain about this special interest group. And it is real, whatever jurisdiction you're in. But the people that seemingly influence the politicians with respect to policies, laws, whatever projects and programs that are put in place, But where's the voter to say, wait a minute, that's not what we want only, or we don't even want that. So, we can't just leave it to them.
Exactly. Now, how is the politician supposed to know how you feel about something if you don't say it to them? One time I was talking to a group of people, and one of the persons answered me back on a very fashion and said, but they should know how I feel about that. I said, you know that there's more than you want, right? And can you please tell me how your elected representative is supposed to know how you feel about that if you have never said it to them? Right. Listen, at the end of the day, these still only human beings. This only human beings we deal with.
Exactly.
And
but even if they know how you feel about it, they may say, well, it's only him, it's only her. That's only one person, or that person doesn't count because that person isn't saying anything. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, right?
But see, this is where then we start looking at the civic capacity of the in the community, right? As when citizens start coming together and they start working on projects together. A gentleman called me last week and reminded me about told me about a project that he had done down in West as a community initiative where a woman's house had been knocked, a part of the house had been knocked down by a land developer. He purchased the land. Their house had sat, and back in that day, nobody measured out anything, and that house was being built, right? So they built the house. They built on this extension onto it, and then the land got stolen. When the line was drawn, part of the house was over into his land, so he knocked it down. And the gentleman that called me, he got active with it, and he, called the community together, and they got that problem all sorted out, right? And Britannica.com gives the definition of civic capacity as being individuals in a democracy become active citizens and work together to solve collective problems, and of communities to encourage such participation in their members. So you have communities who come together and they meet on a particular point or points for discussions, right? This is something that's absent in our communities, that we don't have enough community workshops. We don't have enough community engagement. We seem to have gotten comfortable with placing the X and then going home to watch TV, and we'll throw stones after whoever it is on CNN at the time. And whenever we have a press briefing here, we're going to condemn everybody that's on the screen. But we haven't as a group of citizens come together and even had a meeting in our own neighborhood and addressed and said, are you aware of this? And how do you feel about this? But I'll be the spokesperson for our group to convey our feelings to our elected representative, and maybe we can arrange for him to come meet with us.
Right.
We'll
pick that up another time because of the news, but maybe I say this to you as well. When we do look at the, and condemn, constructive otherwise, two things. Are we able to offer up meaningful things? Are we saying those things in a way that there won't be any fear of our, our condemnation? Ms. Tina, I know the news is now and the break is nigh, but quick final thoughts from you.
Yeah. As Caymanians and as citizens in Cayman, we need to come together and play our citizen role in driving this country forward. And Dwayne, I'm going to stay until after the news because I want to share some news from the elections office. I'm going to stay on for that purpose.
You know the invitation was there for you for as much as you had time, so thank you for doing that. And then we'll invite others to share as well. Please listen to the news and join us after.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. The 18-year-old Northside man arrested in connection with this weekend's shooting has been formally charged now with wounding and wounding with intent. The young man is charged with stabbing another man, reportedly his stepfather, who was taken to the hospital and at last check was in stable condition. Portions of the incident were streamed live on social media. When officers entered the residence, they say the suspect was armed with bladed weapons, started a fire and threatened officers. They say they tasered the suspect and arrested him. In international headlines, Iran has issued an arrest warrant and asked for Interpol to help in detaining President Donald Trump and dozens of others it believes carried out the U.S. drone strike that killed a top Iranian general in Baghdad. That's according to a local prosecutor today. Interpol later said it would not consider Iran's request, meaning President Trump faces no danger of arrest. However, the changes do underscore the heightened tensions between Iran and the U.S. since Trump unilaterally withdrew America from Tehran's nuclear deal with world powers. Governments are stepping up testing and reimposing restrictions as newly confirmed coronavirus infections surge in many countries. India reported 20,000 cases today, while the caseload in the U.S. is growing by about 40,000 a day. Those are your headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. The phone lines are open as we engage in a discussion. Very grateful for Ms. Katina Anglin for sharing with us. Always a very active community participant, civically minded. Ms. Katina, it's wonderful where there are increasingly public indications, more and more people like you who are coming to helping us to be educated and involved and informed and engaged. So thanks very much. So just before the break, you were sharing, and then you wanted to share about something else. So we're listening.
Yes. So let me tell you thanks also, Dwayne, for having me on the show. And I learned last time about what happens just after 2 p.m. when the news briefings are due. And so I'm just...
So today we go to 2:30.
Okay. So I just want to let the public to know that the deadline for registration for the Cayman Islands General Election 2021, it should be held on Wednesday, May the 26th, 2021, is January the 4th, 2021. So that's the deadline. If you're not registered by January the 4th, 2021, there will not be another opportunity for you to register to vote in the May elections. So get your paperwork all together. You're going to need a birth certificate. You need your parents' birth certificate or your grandparents' birth certificate and a photo ID. And you take those to the elections office, or you can contact your district elections officer, or you can contact myself as well. And I'm more than willing to help you to fill this vote paperwork out to get you registered so you can help to play your civic duty. And as we know, the X is only one. That's the cassava in the cassava cake, but that's not the full ingredients. Okay. For more elections office information, you can visit elections.ky. Their phone number is 949-8047. Their email address is info@elections.ky. And guess what? They have a WhatsApp number It is 927-2830. Get registered to vote. It is your civic duty to participate in voting and elections. And that is.
And as we know, there's a 3 months process, right? I mean, you get the deadline. I think is by midnight. I should have it here, as you said, right? So, and the office is going to be open for extended hours. So, not much time now to get registered for the October electoral list, right?
That's right. That's right. And I can tell you something. It's a very beautiful feeling. I remember when I first came onto the registered voters list. I'm not going to say how old I was then. You start counting and everything, but I'm going to tell you I'm a graceful young lady. And it's a very empowering feeling to see your name on the registered voters list. And I'm going to tell you something. You see, when decisions are being made about the future of the country and so on, the voters list is one of the first documents that is checked. The credence that's given to your input is also checked against the voters list. People are not going to admit that to you, right? But when they start looking about dispersing services and aid and stuff like that, I have heard many moons ago, I heard people say, go check the voters list and see who on there that is over this age and under this age and so on and so forth. So a heavily referred to source of information is the registered voters list. So when the government is getting ready to disperse aid or type of service or something, they do refer to the registered voters list. If you're not on there, how are they going to know you exist for that? So there's a mutual benefit to being a registered voter. You get to guide the country, and the country gets to be a service for you.
Yeah, I guess that's why when the Honorable Premier shared in response to the question about the people who want to get registered, who are sort of now waiting for the boards to approve permanent residency and status and the like. He said, well, the people who haven't yet paid their permanent residency fees, but they're benefiting from the country. When Honorable Mayor Lawrence called in, I was so honored that she would share with such passion, such eloquence and respect, but the gall and audacity, she said, of people to accept and take the benefits of a country, but don't see a corresponding responsibility to pay their work, their permanent residency fees. I see the correlation, in that if we're not registered to vote, then we don't really have a legitimate claim, as it were. But then if we're now have permanent residency with all the benefits and seemingly almost the right to the path to citizenship that gives, it's not just PR. It's now you're almost just one toenail away from getting the citizenship, but you haven't paid your fees, knowing that can be revoked if you don't pay. Why is the government, seeing to it that either they collect the fees or that they revoke the whole thing then and there?
Right.
I again.
That reminds me of a conversation I had during the port fiasco, and I was talking.
We do have a caller on as well, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I say this quickly first?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
So I was talking with someone who expressed, who finally detailed a conversation that he had with someone else, who I thought was a registered voter for all of the years I knew this person had Caymanian status. And the person had said, and I'm relating information to you from someone who I trust with this, right? And they said that the individual said to them, the reason why they registered to vote was so they could vote against the port when the port referendum came up. And until then, they had no desire to play a role in our electoral process, but had been a Caymanian for, I can't remember exactly, I think something like 19 years. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, And the only thing that drove you to vote was because of the port issue, but we've been plagued with social issues for so long. And you're here in the country and you're reaping the benefits of the country and you have the status to be a Caymanian, but you don't play an active role in our electoral process except it came down to the port, and then all of a sudden it was necessary for you to go register to vote. But in there we also have a lesson, is that we don't know when something is going to come up that's going to affect us so negatively. And if we're not prepared to go vote against it, we get caught running. Some people say get caught in time. Some I say running, try and catch it before it closes. You know? Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. This is the importance of being prepared, right? Yeah, man.
That's right.
Well, Ms. Katina, let's pick up this other caller if we can.
Wonderful.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and I promise I would not be as long as I was last Friday, because I know it's called behind me. And I want to say good afternoon to Miss Tina. This is Charlene Schmid.
Good afternoon, my love.
I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people may not know. I have been a Caymanian for 67 years. I have been a Swiss citizen for 48 years.
Wow.
Okay? And that Swiss passport can go anywhere, even into communist countries if I wanted to. But the reason why I called today, two reasons. I want to thank the government, the Premier, our Honorable Premier, our Excellency the Governor, Dwayne Seymour, and I cannot forget Dr. Lee for all the work that they're doing, because I wouldn't like to be in their position at all, of all the decisions and things that they have to make. I thank them from the bottom of my heart, and I pray to the good Lord that He'll continue to give them health and strength. Then the other thing I wanted to say, when I finish on Friday with you, Miss Tina, and I think after that was the press briefing, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know that on Sunday, just after I'd come out to church, which was a good church service, it wasn't long, but it was a good church service, and I was so happy to see some of my friends, to see them, not just talk to them on the phone, just to see them. Anyway, I got some calls, very negative, wishing that I would stay off of that phone. I would stay off from talking to Radio Cayman. And I know, and they should know, that Radio Cayman is all about the people, hearing the people's opinions, hearing what the people have to say, and giving the people a chance to talk, like how OC and Dwayne usually give us. And I pray for Radio Cayman staff too, because I would say they're in the front line of everything. They have been in the front line for everything, because they're the ones that get the insults and whatnot. But if those persons don't want to hear me and my personal opinions, you know what they can do? They can they can shut off their radios until they think that I'm finished talking. But that's my opinion. That's my rights, just like I have a civil right to vote. And some of them don't want to hear that because it's talking about some of their representatives or their buddies that are not really taking care of West Bay and this island. Like I said, if they don't like to hear me, then I go Foster's a lot. That's my store. I'm out there helping people. I'm helping people like Miss Florence. I help people like my mental cousin. Mm-hmm. I try to help myself as best as I can because my left kidney was removed just a few years ago. I have to get CAT scans and whatnot, but that do not stop me because I know there is a good and loving and merciful God. So if they don't want to hear me,
Amen.
Don't listen to me. But I am speaking from my heart. I am speaking the truth, and that's what Radio Cayman likes to hear. And as long as don't call names, but it must have hit them really bad, that they can call me, take a Sunday to call me. They didn't ask me how I was doing. They didn't ask me if I had anything to eat. They didn't ask me anything else. I must stay off a Radio Cayman, but that was about the third or fourth time I've been getting those calls. But now, whoever that was, because it comes on the phone, unknown number, and don't ask now if I can tell who that was because no good at calling the telephone companies. They can't tell you anything. Except for your bill, they can tell you that. But they have a voice too, and if they like, they can get on the radio and say they don't like it, or if they did, well, that's tough luck for them because they should have an opinion. I have an opinion, and I have a right for that opinion. Not keeping you any longer. I wish all of you well. And try to stay safe. And thanks again to our government. Thanks, Katina, for Katina, not Trina. Katina. I'm getting that wrong all the time, and Patrick keeps telling me, no, Mommy, it's Katina. So, good afternoon to you all.
God bless, Mom. Thank you,
Thank you very, very much.
Well, Miss Tina, we do have the final break. So let's do that, and then you can share your thoughts when we come back.
Yeah, sure.
Keep on the right side of Susan there. Well, that's that saying. If you're on the right side of the Susan, then you're walking on. Well, that's not how it goes, but final break. When we come back, our final thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
During these challenging times, it can be easy to lose sight of all we have to be grateful for. From the police service members of the National Emergency Operations Center, healthcare workers, the DEH, grocery and pharmacy attendants, to the many acts of Cayman kindness. Along with the daily con call at 6:59 p.m., Radio Cayman invites the community to call in to Talk Today to share their stories and experiences. Whether you have a family member on the front line and wish to give them a shout out, or if you have a personal experience of Cayman kindness, we want to hear from you. Talk Today airs Mondays through Friday from 12:15 to 2:30 p.m. Call 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261.
Are you finding that your young child is anxious? Coping with COVID-19 related stress can be harder for children as they have less experience of facing big challenges. Signs that your child may need emotional support can include frequent crying or irritation, toileting accidents or bedwetting, changes in sleeping habits and appetite, frequent arguing or fighting with others, and increased physical ailments such as unexplained illnesses. For free and confidential support, call the Mental Health Helpline weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-534-MIND. That's 1-800-534-6463.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. I know it's Monday. Mondays are always hectic for many of us. We always seem to be a little bit reticent when it comes to Mondays, but hey, any good day above ground is a great day. Very glad that Ms. Katina Angman is able to share with us this afternoon as we have a little open night segment with her input. Ms. Katina, we do have another caller joining us though, so let's go straight to our phones, okay?
Wonderful.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon. I'm just saying hello to you and your guest.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
And to the past caller. People who know her will understand that she has an opinion and that she can get it out. So it would be useless telling her to shut up. You're just looking for an opinion plus an argument. But anyway, ma'am, good afternoon to you. Haven't seen you in a long time, and, we can catch up.
You're going to catch up for sure. As soon come with CNN.
That's the beautiful part about this radio, especially Radio Cayman. It's for us, it's not like you see some other jurisdictions where the radio is government radio that becomes a propaganda machine. This is a community radio, funded by payers' money, so that the citizens can engage, Right, Mom? That's the way we do it. But that's important, Ms. Katina, because just like the request line long ago, where we read in and sent requests to when people, we saw it very evident after Hurricane Ivan, where people would call in, businesses as well, to get messages out to the community. But even now, somebody will call in and say, I'm trying to get a hold of so-and-so, all for good reasons, nothing to alarm anybody, but it's a way. And it is, I think, important for us to be able to do that, as long as we continue to be civil and respectful and respectable and the like, and not let it get to this point where we see in so many jurisdictions, not just in the Caribbean, but in other parts of the world, where a government-controlled entity, TV, radio, or some media outlet, funded by the treasury, the tax that is collected, becomes this one-sided propaganda machine, for want of a better phrase. It's used for the government to get its message, but it's also used for the people to question and equally share its sentiments. So, healthy democracy, education, civics. Not true?
That's right. That's right. And it's incredibly important that the government station is viewed in such a light, because the day that we start looking at the radio station, which airs our voice, and in so doing airs our concerns, and we start looking at it and saying, oh, well, you can't call the radio station and say this because you're going to send the police after you, then we're not living in a democratic society anymore.
Yeah, man. If you look at the media. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to share.
Yeah, the freedom of speech is paramount to democracy. The minute you stifle it, you're no longer in a democratic society.
Yeah, man. And if you look at media generally, even if we exclude Cayman for a second, and we pick any jurisdiction, whether it's the US or whether it's the UK, there are some of us, who know, because maybe we live and work there, maybe that's where we're from, maybe we have friends and the like who will tell us, why if you read this newspaper, um, and we watch this particular news channel, you're going to get this particular slant. Wouldn't it be so important, especially in our jurisdiction, small as it is, that we have this objective media thing, irrespective of it's privately owned or publicly funded, that once we turn into that, we know it's credible, the people there are competent, information is timely, it's accurate, it's objective, if there's an opinion, then you know it's an opinion. But if it's an instance of, this was what transpired in its legislative assembly or through a government agency or what have you, hey, it's the facts. And for some, they see that as idealistic, but really, that should be the minimum standard to expect of any sort of journalistic endeavor.
Exactly. The journalist pledge, if I remember it correctly, has something to do with reporting the truth. I don't recall it saying reporting only that which is favorable to the listeners or only that which is favorable to the government. So, to have accurate journalism, you're not talking about taking a slant on anything, but finding the truth and reporting it is the pledge for it. Incredibly though, you referenced some entities overseas and stuff like that, and I think we can admit here that some of those are really not journalistic endeavors, but are actually lobbyist sites, because you can see the one-sided approach they take to certain issues, the way that they approach topics on certain people. It's kind of like, if you want to see pro-death, you tune into this station. And if you want to see anti-death, you tune into that station. So it's not like you're able to get the truth and then make an informed decision. It's about, what side do you want to hear? And not do you want to hear the truth? So listen here, because we're going to put the truth out there, and you make of it what you choose to make of it, So exactly. I am very grateful that that we do have Radio Cayman, and that there's an acceptance by Radio Cayman and its management, the government on whole, to entertain persons regardless of their view, so that we can have an open, free speech society. And I'm very grateful that you're in there too, Dwayne. You're a voice of peace in the midst of all the madness. Trust me on that.
Well, no, thank you. I'm very honored. I'm blessed. I say that sincerely. I do have, like your opinions and views on things. I can be very strong on my assessment and stuff, and critical if necessary, but hopefully never dogmatic, but never so wishy-washy that you don't have a spine and strong legs to stand on. So we walk a right path, man, and we serve a living God. So that's the way we, in this jurisdiction, in this society, that we can take comfort. In other places, we don't have the freedoms to criticize our government. We may not necessarily have the level of freedoms that we think we should, but again, that's on us. Now, Miss Katina, Miss Susan says we have one final call. Let's graciously.
And I'd like to pray before we leave.
Yeah, man. Go right ahead.
Okay.
P-R-A-Y, not like the P-R-E-Y that some of us are doing, but let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling in. Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, Mr. Sterling.
How are you, sir?
Yes, Miss Katrina, I hope it's sorry, you can't chocolate, but once he get that, you can do anything you want with him.
So you think
chocolate. But good evening to you, Miss Katrina.
We were working on the cassava cake thing, man, but thanks for letting me know. So. Yeah. When you mustn't make certain people know certain things,
Your friends, boy. Everybody, talk to us, man. How are you?
Yeah. I wouldn't get you done laughing, man.
It takes a while sometimes, but go right ahead.
You better
So,
talk.
Sterling, I just want to say that, we here in the Cayman Islands, we blessed, This is a
Amen.
blessed island. And in fact, sometimes I study the Caribbean. We're blessed in the Caribbean because all of this stuff that is going on, we're not hearing too many Caribbean people dying, that is in the Caribbean. Because you see the sea, that is one of the people underestimating the sea salt water. Years ago, an old lady this morning, I was talking to her. We raised up together on Mary Street, and I never spoken to her for about almost 30 years. And she said to me, you remember in the 60s we had something, you remember this word called columbus? That was the corona, she said, I know you heard that word before, Sterling, the columbus.
Well, Reed, I was doing as you know, a show on it and came across a couple of things, but because we couldn't get sufficient sort of corroboration from others, we were hesitant to share some of these. But you are right. There have been instances in Cayman and in the Caribbean in particular, other things, but seemingly there was poor record keeping and information sharing compared to today, So
it wasn't that, Mr. Sterling. It was that those old folks didn't know what it was, but it was the same symptoms and everything. And you know what they said they used? I remember Mr. Arthur's State Boarding Shop was famous for that. Fenzik.
The body.
And you go in the salt water, you would sniff it up, then you even drink a little bit because the accidentally sometimes we drink it. But the salt water was the healing medicine. But we didn't have all this modern health system that we have now. But it was that word columbus was the same coronavirus we had years ago. But what I'm saying, the Cayman Islands and the Caribbean, Jamaica, Cuba, we are blessed because we have that ocean,
Not
And let us remember that he has founded it upon the seas. This Cayman Island is blessed, That's why when people come from other parts of the world, they come here, they don't want to go here, they call it, paradise. That's what they call it,
Let's keep it that. All right, sir. Miss Susan has been away from us, and I don't want to keep her on the wrong side. So thank you for that. And if quick other thoughts you want to share, or thought, thank you for your thoughts, sir.
I just want to make sure that remember the Cayman Island people, the Caymanians, the real ones that born on here, they are praying people. They are praying people.
Sure, we continue.
And God answers prayers. Okay?
Prayers
everyone's prayers. And he's
was it James 5:16, no? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Well, Ms. Catino?
Yes.
To you as well, man. You want to close us out in prayer?
Yes, thank you very much. Father, we are blessed. As the caller just declared into the atmosphere, we are blessed. And we thank you, Lord, that we are blessed. We are blessed only because of you, because of your love, because you love us, Lord, because we are an undeserving people. But, Lord, we are so grateful to know that you are our Lord and Savior. Please lead us as citizens, as civilians, so that we can execute our duties in a godly fashion. And we pray, Lord, for godly administration, that this Cayman Islands, a nation of Christian values, constitutionally and historically, may continue to serve you, our Lord and Savior, now and forevermore. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, Ms. Katina, thank you for your time, and I hope that we get a chance to engage you further as you continue reading your research. You'll be able to share with us, and we'll be, much more, not just educated and informed, but actively engaged in a positive way. So thank you very much, Mom.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure, a delight to share and help to educate our people. Thank you. God bless you.
Amen. Blessings to you. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Please, come back tomorrow, God's willing, be a part of our talk today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Honorable Premier did say to us that, they'll go to about a weekly briefing, touch and go as it goes. So the next one isn't until Friday. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.